It's been a long time since I've gone on a listing appointment and didn't walk away with the listing and the sellers were not exactly on board. So I'm just giving you all of this feedback to say, hey, your feelings, if you feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Your feelings are valid and you are not alone. But is it time to press the panic button?
Hey friends, I'm Rosemary Lewis, your homegirl, and I'm so excited that you are here. I do not care what it looks like on Instagram or HGTV. This whole being a realtor thing is not for the faint at heart. In 2017, I quit my job as a teacher to follow my real estate dreams and quickly found myself overwhelmed and struggling. Fast forward to today. Not only have I been recognized as one of the leaders in our industry, I have actually grown a business that I absolutely love. I don't care if you're a brand new agent trying to figure out how to get started or a veteran feeling overwhelmed and just stuck. I was just like you and I totally get it. Many times I wish there was someone that I could just talk to about all the challenges I was facing. And that is why I created this space just for you. Like best friends do, I'm giving you all the tea related to navigating and thriving in these real estate streets. If I can do it, guess what? That's proof that you can too. Everything's better with friends, so let's succeed together. Welcome to the Real Estate Bestie Podcast.
Hey besties, welcome to episode number 106, where we are talking about, is it time to push the panic button? Listen, because unless you living under a rock, real estate has been real estating. Or actually, maybe that's the problem. It has not been real estating in the same way that we have been used to. And I know for a lot of us, a lot of besties are like in a panic mode, feeling some anxiety around that. And we are going to talk about it. And I'm going to even share with you my real life thoughts, what I'm real life going through, my real life things that I'm doing right now in business, because I know that if I'm having these feelings, I'm seeing these feelings in Facebook groups, I'm having conversations with you all, let's just go ahead and put it out here and talk about it. But before I get into it, I just need to thank one of our besties on the review. Look, I don't know your name. It just says TTMCK. Y'all, she left me the sweetest review on the podcast platform. And I'm just going to read a little bit of it to you because this really embodies why we are here, why we do what we do, why we are in community together. So she says, I can't even recall how I stumbled upon this podcast, but I was hooked. And even though she kept saying to write a review, I didn't have time because I was so busy listening and trying to hold on to every word. I feel like I know Rosemary and I feel safe with her. She is a real life real estate bestie and I can't let go. Oh, that's so sweet. So much so that I'm going to her retreat in April. I love the transparency, the real life stories, the real tears, the real, now let's focus pep talk, the everything. Listen, I am so grateful for this review. And I'm be honest, it came on a day that I'm just feeling blah, right? I have in addition to just, refocusing or I don't even think that I was out of focus, but really doubling down on what's happening in market, just personally, like we all have a lot going on. I'm recording this podcast right at the beginning of December. December 5th is the anniversary of my mom's death. So I'm all in my feelings about that. And, it's holidays and, like all of us, it's just one of them days I'm just kind of like, ugh. But then to read somebody's kind words, it just gives me perspective and it reminds me that, what I am doing is purposeful. And I just want to tell you that and let me remind you that what you are doing is purposeful, right? The work that you're doing, how you're taking care of your family, how you're taking care of yourself, how you are even showing up to this podcast to figure out how you can be better and serve your clients better. It matters to somebody, and I'm letting you know it matters to me. So thank you, TTMCK. I need to know who you really are, bestie, and I can't wait to link arms with you in April. Okay, now let's talk about it. Is it time to panic, y'all? It is the beginning of December 2023 as I'm recording this episode. And I had a conversation. I too have a real estate coach that I meet with that challenges my thinking, that helps me run my business like a business. And, we had a conversation in our coaching session on Monday. And, we were just talking about, the way my business has looked this year, just different things that have changed. One thing is that we've been way more listings heavy than buyer heavy. And, some might say, oh, that's great. But a lot of my listings have been sad, y'all. People getting divorced, people, moving away or deciding that they need to do something different because of the economy. So business has just looked different this year. And she shared with me a stat. Now, I don't know where she got this from, but she shared with me a stat that the market as a whole is down by 35%. And I know this is true because I feel it and I see it. I see the listings sitting longer. I'm having the conversations with the clients who really want to buy, but they can't afford. I literally just left a mastermind with agents that, we were all thinking together, like, what can we do differently? Because it feels like we need to, do more. It doesn't feel like we are needing to do more to even make. I started off this year saying you got to do double the work to make the same kind of money, but you almost have to do double the work to make close to the amount of money you were used to. So for some of us, some people have been in production, meaning, and when I say production, that means, you have been closing deals. You're used to closing a certain amount of deals. You're pivoting your activities. But then I know I have some besties who, may be newer to the business and your business has not taken off. And just this conversation of everything that's happening, honestly, is discouraging you. I'm thinking of a bestie that I know. I met her a couple of months ago. She was so excited, newly licensed. And, I checked in on her not too long ago and she decided not to even pursue real estate because of, everything that the news, the media is saying, and not just the media, just, what her perception of real estate is after she has gotten licensed and just hearing those conversations. So what I know and what I hear is that a lot of us are panicking. And let's talk about what does that look like and is it time to push the panic button? And the first thing that I want to say, if you listened to the episode last week, I think it was episode 104 with Sheena. I interviewed Sheena. She was amazing. And I asked her this question. I asked her, what advice would she give to agents who are pushing the panic button, who are newer or who haven't experienced a market shift and are nervous. The very first thing that she said, and it was so prominent, she said, well, first things first, I would validate your concerns, right? And I think that is so true. Like, that's something that we need to say more because, whether it is real estate or whether it is, you're going through a loss or, you're just in a tough season, I think that sometimes people are so quick to be solution oriented that we don't do a great job of validating a concern, right? I read a book once. It was not too long after my mom passed, and it just really talked about anything that is lost. Anytime you experience a loss, there is grief around it. And, we normally know grief, as like you used to lose a loved one. But literally, the book said, like, if your kid loses their favorite stuffed animal, there may be a grieving process around that. And something that I don't think that we give ourselves enough time to acknowledge or a feeling to experience is like grieving our expectations, right? And I'm speaking to, a lot of agents who you maybe have come into the real estate space in the last couple years, and your expectation of what it will look like and what it actually does look like, there's a little bit of grieving happening there, right? Because you expected it to come a little bit more naturally, it come a little bit more easily, and here, bam, all these roller coaster of market conditions have happened, and it's like, okay, should I, like, how does one move forward? Or you have agents, who you maybe have come in and experienced a great deal of success, right? And not to say that you're not good at what you do and that, you weren't helping people, but, market conditions were so favorable that there was more low-hanging fruit. There were people who were more motivated to buy or sell. And now you find yourself into a situation that is what people say is normal, but it's not normal for you. You know, the past 3 or 4 years weren't like this. And it's like, okay, how do I show up, or do I want to show up? And you know what, y'all, it can be low-key depressing. It literally can be low-key depressing. I was at a listing appointment not too long ago. Listing appointment went phenomenal, right? It went good. But at the end of the day, the expectation of the seller and what market where it really is, they didn't line up. And you know, I didn't even get a call back, right? They're not even answering my calls, because I know that their expectation is not what it is. But I also know that, like, I'm not willing, especially in this market, to just list something for the sake of listing it only to have it cancel or expire because I didn't set up realistic expectations, right? It's been a long time since I've gone on a listing appointment and didn't walk away with the listing and the sellers were not exactly on board. So I'm just giving you all of this feedback to say, hey, your feelings, if you feel like, oh my gosh, what's happening here? Your feelings are valid and you are not alone. But is it time to press the panic button? Now, I'm not going to get all spiritual. Well, maybe I am. Well, I'm not going to get all literal because I don't know the literal term or the literal scripture. But, you know, there is that scripture in the Bible that tells us to be anxious for nothing, and through prayer and supplication, I'm going to mess it up. But the part about being anxious for nothing, okay? I do know that there are definitely some issues that call us to be anxious and have anxiety. And I'm not discounting anyone who has anxious feelings or anxious thoughts, because that is a real thing. Remember, your thoughts are valid. But what happens sometimes is when we get nervous, we start to make erratic decisions. We start to like grab at anything, right? Grab at anything that we think will bring deals to us, or, you know, pull out your resume, or you make like panic moves. And that's what I want to talk about and just encourage you to think through before you do any of these panic moves today. I was talking to somebody, one of my real life real estate besties, and we were just talking about how, you know, lately we have been getting so many more messages to our inbox about people who, you know, I can get you this many leads, I can get you that many leads. And we know people that are like, kind of like falling for the hype because they're so nervous because this market looks different, that they're looking to do just radically different things that might not make the most sense. And here is my assessment, y'all, is that yes, this market is going to require a different level of grit than you may have been used to putting out. It's definitely going to require us to be way more thorough. It's definitely going to weed some people out, you know, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. And I'm not even saying a bad thing for those of us who will be here, but a bad thing for those of us who, you know, those of you who may be deciding like, hey, I'm not really about this life, right? Then go on, do something that really does make sense for you. And there is no shame in that. Let me just say that. Like, sometimes people want to shame you, but sometimes, you know, it's just not the time or the season. But there is a large percentage of you that you are exactly where you need to be. But this is just a tougher season. It's a different season. So panicking, you know, being anxious, being, you know, like biting at the nails and just grabbing onto anything, throwing money at leads, you know, changing brokerages, you know, doing all these drastic things because you are panicking is not the answer, right? Now, might you need to make some changes? Might you need to, you know, reevaluate and heighten your daily activities? Absolutely, right? I am not saying that we're not going to have to do anything differently, but I am going to say, like, take a deep breath, like literally do some breath work, take a deep breath so that you can really analyze what it is that has brought you business. What are the holes that you can plug in your business, and what can we do so that we have longevity in the market? Because the reality, friends, is that this market or the real estate market in general is what we call cyclical. Okay. And when a market is cyclical, that means that there are natural rhythms where you're going to have peaks and valleys. It's going to be a roller coaster. It's going to go up and down. And for a long while, we have been in an uptick market where it was very favorable for people to buy and sell homes. And now we are in a different market where the tick is not as far up. So that means that we are going to have to stand out way more as educators, way more as trusted real estate professionals. You may have to get way more creative in how we are going about acquiring business and getting repeat business, but I don't want us to panic at it. I literally had a moment a couple of weeks ago where I just really looked at, the business that I have, and I looked at, okay, how do I sustain it? Because quite honestly, I need to just sustain where I'm at. Okay. And of course you want to grow, but right now sustaining in this market, it works for me. But to sustain it, for a lot of us, that looks like being non-negotiable with our habits. Okay. And your habits are going to be not only your daily activities, but your personal development habits. So I've told you this 1,011 times. I'm tell you again, I even had to check myself recently on getting back to my night routine and getting back to my morning routine, right? To making sure that I am actually getting to bed on time and waking up on time, bookending my day so that I can make sure that when it's time for me to hit the phones, when it's time for me to show up, I am showing up. Okay. So that's the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do, is to rest yourself. Like staying up all night or being worried is not going to help the situation. It's not. Worry helps nothing. But getting the rest you need, getting up, getting your day started, starting off on a positive foot is going to be a big game changer. Okay. And even now, I share with y'all, like it's the holiday season. I'm feeling a little woo woo because of my mom's death anniversary. Just the fact of me making sure that I am being on top of my habit of going to bed and waking up when I'm supposed to, that has helped my overall mood. Okay. So that's number one. Number two that I want to tell you, listen, it's non-negotiable right now, like non-negotiable to be doing direct lead generation activities. Okay. I know we love posting on the internet. I know we love going to all of the realtor events and all that, but baby, we have to be on the phone, okay? We have to be on the phone. We need to be calling our sphere of influence. You need to be calling your past clients, every lead in your database. This is the time to really, really make sure that your database is on lock. When I say your database, where are you keeping everybody's information? How often are you getting in contact with them? And start picking up the phone. Okay. This is also the time to revisit who didn't sell last year, who didn't buy last year, whose house got expired off the market 2 years ago. Because y'all, literally, we're at the turn of a new year. So you have a lot of people who are now thinking about purchasing or selling in the new year. So getting in front and picking up the phone and having these conversations is non-negotiable. Every single day, friends, every single day, we have to be out talking to people, because every real estate deal that has ever closed, I promise you, started with a conversation. So if we're not having conversations, like, this is a surefire way to know that you're going to be panicking. Because if you are not having conversations, then it's going to be virtually impossible to get to deals. So make sure that you are consistently putting yourself in position, you're picking up the phone, and you are having conversations with as many people as possible. Well, Bestie, I don't know who to talk to. Listen, you get in your realtor groups, get in your neighborhood groups, have conversations, talk to the people in your brokerage. Who can you hold an open house for? Passing out your business cards, making sure that everywhere you go, you use the script that we have given you. Hey, where do you live? From when they tell you where they live, then you just keep it going from there, asking them about the area. Oh, because by the way, I'm a real estate agent. We have to be having multiple real estate conversations. Okay. Here's what else you need to do instead of pushing the panic button. Getting social on social. But listen, don't just be walking slow to music. Okay. Time out for that. We need to turn that camera on and start giving tips, start giving value, start being an advocate, share what you know about market so that people will start to hear it over and over and remember who you are so that they will choose you. I literally just left, I told y'all I left a mastermind. And at the mastermind, it was really interesting because there was a gentleman there and he deals a lot with bankruptcies. And he just gave us such interesting stats about how people, when they're filing bankruptcy and it's, inevitable that they won't be able to keep their homes, but how the bankruptcy doesn't really help them like figure that out. So the whole time I'm thinking to myself, okay, if everybody I know is talking about how high stuff is, there has to be somebody in my database, in my area, who is struggling to pay their mortgage. I need to start pumping out content where I'm literally having a conversation and saying, listen, this is what I know. I know that this economy is really tough. And if you have found yourself struggling to pay your mortgage, first of all, I am not judging you. I have been there before. Second of all, though, I don't want you to lose your home. So call me immediately. Or if you know somebody who may be struggling or know somebody who may be thinking about bankruptcy, whatever that is, I want to start pumping out content, having those conversations so that they know before they even get to that point that, hey, this is a person that you can call. So same with you. When you're having conversations with your lenders, when you're getting wins with your clients, when when you learn a real estate stat that the general public does not know, we need to become the trusted real estate advisor. And we need to be talking about that at the coffee shops. You talk about that in your friend groups. You talk about that on social media. Gone are the days where we can just kind of, look cute and do a dance. I mean, dances are cute. They cute. I mean, I guess you can still do them. But my point is, it's time to like really double down and get serious about our business. Okay. And then this is the last thing I'm going to say, because I don't want this to be a 5-hour podcast. Okay. Is that there is no shame, friends, if you need to do a little something on the side to sustain yourself as you are building your business, okay? And this is what I mean. If you need to go out and get a side hustle, right? If real estate is your main gig, but you are very far in between closings, there is no shame. Like I was just having a conversation with someone about this. Don't let pride and ego keep your family from eating, okay? And here's the thing to think about, and maybe I'll do a podcast about this. There are plenty of side hustles that have to do with real estate. You could be a transaction coordinator or a listing coordinator, or you can get your notary signing license, or maybe you could do something part-time at the title company. Like literally putting your name in the hat to figure out what can I do in order to help me while I'm building my database, while I'm nurturing these clients as the market has shifted. I often think about Lisa Nichols. She's one of the people who presented on The Secret. And she talks about how, there was a point in time, I forget what work she was doing, but she was saving money and, doing her regular job, but she was saving money. She would go to the bank every week and she would write in the memo of the check she would write to her savings account, funding my dream, right? Sometimes we got to fund our dream. And I don't want anyone to make you feel like, I know sometimes you'll hear agents that have been in the business for a long time and they almost make you feel foolish for even trying if you are, feeling some pressure right now, right? Just go ahead and get, no, we're not gonna get out the market. But if I do need to get a part-time job, if I do need to do something else to help supplement as I am building this business, there is no shame in that, right? That's not panicking. I would rather you do that and work the things that you know to work than to going into credit card debt to buy leads that the same source is selling those same leads to everybody, right? So truly think through what it is that has brought you business. And now you're just going to have to do a whole lot more of that in order to sustain the business. Okay. So I think that's all I got for you today. I just want to tell you that yes, this market does look different. Yes, it's a little sticky for a lot of us, right? Even with the Rosemary Lewis group, our sales do not look the way that they looked last year. We're blessed because we're still closing. We still have our phones ringing. But I am even like the stuff that I'm telling you all, digging deep, showing up to educate, figuring out what it is that we need to do to stay top of mind and solidify ourselves as the real estate professionals, properly nurturing our database. I'm doing the same things, y'all. And this is what I know, right? Here's what we're going to end on. What you sow, you will reap. So we keep sowing the seed of faith, the seed of nurturing, the seed of love, the seed of education. We're going to reap the harvest, but the difference is that we did a whole lot of reaping, right? For a little sowing, right? So some things you plant in the garden, they sprout up right away. Right now we're planting seeds that's gonna take a little longer to grow, but I don't want you to panic, because the more we keep watering them, and not just the seeds for the clients we want, but watering our mindset, watering our attitude, watering our skill base, our knowledge base, and things like that, then we will reap the reward. So don't press the panic button. But look, it's almost like, losing weight for your vacation, for your birthday trip. You might have to do a little something extra. Not might. You have to do a little something extra to get ready for the swimming suit on time. But you're going to get ready. I'm rooting for you. I'm rooting for me. We are all in this together. All right, besties. I'll talk to you soon.
If you enjoyed this episode and you have a real life bestie that you think it would resonate with, y'all, do me a favor. Go ahead and hit that share button, because you know what? We are better together. Make sure you share the podcast, and I appreciate your reviews. I appreciate you giving me 5 stars more than you know. I'll talk to you next week.